Well, hello and welcome to this latest video. In this video we're going to look a little bit at layout. Now we can't go into a lot of detail because we haven't done style sheets and CSS yet. So what we're going to do is just look at the HTML parts of the layout and what they do and where you should use them. Now there's quite a lot of detail in here, so I've actually got some notes this time. Which I know is unusual for me, but I do have some notes, so I shall be referring to my notes on this. Okay, let's start. Right, the first and most important one that you'll come to is a thing called a div. It stands for division, and basically all the other items are some sort of specialized div. A div is just literally a block somewhere in your code, and it can be the whole document, it can be part of a document, it can be nested inside documents and other divs and that type of thing, and it's used a lot with CSS and JavaScript. The next one is the main tag. This is the main data, the main information of the main content of the document, and there can only be one main element per document. You have to be a bit careful as to what actually goes into a main element. It needs to have things like unique information about the document. It shouldn't have things that are repeated in other documents on the site. So you wouldn't put a nav bar that's on every document in a main. You might put a smaller nav bar in the main just to navigate that particular document, that particular HTML page, that type of thing. A main cannot be a descendant of things like article or a footer or header or nav, but it can contain those. I don't use main very much. I tend to use a div or a container, which is something that you'll come to find out once we start using things like Bootstrap and Skeleton for our CSS. Okay, next, header. This is the header part of the document. If you think of a newspaper, it's the headline right at the very top, the banner right at the very top telling you about the document. And it's also the section inside the document, so each article can have a header, that type of thing. It usually contains the H1 to the H6 tags and an icon, that type of thing. You shouldn't put, or you cannot put, a header within the footer or an address or another header. Right, where was I? Header. So the next one is nav. Now, nav is short for navigation, and it's the navigation bar which is usually found at the top of a page. Not all navigation has to be in that, but this is, you usually see it at the top or the side of a page so that you can navigate to the various different documents within a site. The next item is a section. Different parts of a document like chapters or maybe even headers or footers are sections. As I say, these are all types of divs. So if you've got a section within a document, it could be one of those. Having said that, we actually do have articles, as you can see up, and this is the sort of thing, for example, on a forum. When somebody posts an article, then it would be surrounded by an article tag, that type of thing. News story, comment, this type of thing. Okay, the next one is an aside. Now, this is where you want to give more information about something, usually in a side column of some sort. For example, if you are visiting the Louvre in Paris, you might want to put an aside saying, the Louvre in Paris is open Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, that type of thing. and you give extra information about it that doesn't actually talk about the paintings and the items that are inside the Louvre in Paris. A footer. Now, this gives sort of the details about who created the document and some of the legal information of a document. It can also be part of a section, that type of thing. You usually find them, say, at the bottom of the web page, and it will say, you know, copyright. For example, you could think of this copyright here as part of the footer of this document. The next are details. Now, I've very rarely used details, but they're a good way if you have an article and that you want to specify the copyright and that type of thing for the article and who wrote it and when it was written and where you took the article from. It's most of the sites I've done haven't needed something like that. We haven't been taking information from other places, so we haven't needed to actually give any data about it. Now, inside the details, you'll usually have a summary, and the summary is the part which is displayed, and you can actually click on the summary and get a little bit more information. So it might say, for example, copyright 2018 John Lavelle, and when you click on it, you can say it's come from the jlavelle.uk website on the series for programming for the web, for example. Right, that's the information about layout. There's not much we can really do code-wise until we've done CSS, which, as you might guess, is coming up very soon. That's why we're doing the layout. And but I'll just show you roughly or very quickly how you can do one or two of the items. Okay, so we're in Atom. We need a new folder, which will be HTML8, and inside HTML8 we need a document called index.html, and inside there I'll just copy and paste I'll remove the image, and if I just come down to the bottom, Control S, we'll do a refresh. We have HTML8, and although it says images, I'm going to change that to layout information. Okay, the one that you're going to use the most is a div tag, and basically inside of a div you can have classes which will set up the styles for how things are going to look. And inside a div, quite often you might have, for example, a heading, for example, and we'll just close that off. And then you may well have for a paragraph. And a paragraph like that. So if I save that, you'll see that what comes up is just a div heading and a paragraph. If I didn't have this inside of a div, for example, if I just copy and paste this, then there's actually no real difference. When you have a look at the second, it's exactly the same. It's what you do with the classes and the styles within the div that make a difference. You can also use div with JavaScript as well, and that's something that we will do quite a lot. Right, probably the only one that will actually work is details. And if I do a details one, this is because we haven't got any style sheets or that type of thing. We can do this, and basically we can put and after that we can put a paragraph, close the paragraph, oops, and we can put some information there. Now if I save that, you'll see that we have a details section. It's, let me just remove that second part there. We'll just delete that and save it. So now you can actually see this is what the details part does. Because it's got a summary, it actually displays that summary, and when you click on it, you get the little arrow changes down and you get the detail which you put below. That's about the only one that's actually we can actually show you working, simply because we don't have the styles and the style sheets set up. So next time we're going to look at Emmet and how to use Emmet, and then directly after that we're going to go into style sheets and looking at style sheets. I hope you found this useful. It is just an introduction to it, and we'll get to the full part once we've done the styles. Please like and subscribe. My name's John, and I'll see you next time.